Welcome to my channel. Thank you for your support. So I can see there are 4 comments which are done on the connector selection criteria, one video I have created. So thank you for all your comments, and I'm happy that you are getting benefit from all these videos. So one particular comment which I have seen, that is, you shall cover selection criteria. Okay, so this selection criteria she might be talking about the connectors. Okay, then she was telling that routing standard as well you have to cover. So I'm going to cover those design routing standard as well in the upcoming videos, one by one. Then thank you for your comment and thank you for your appreciation. So today, so this comment, I'm very happy that, because this comment can come only, why this comment came, because in last video I have not covered the whole selection criteria for the connector. So there is a one video which already it is there, so where I have covered the basics of connector overview, what are the components, what is the exploded view of that connector, and after that I was discussing about the electrical properties and mechanical properties. Okay, so till that I have finished, and after that, once I don't get the response on those videos, so I just leave those videos, because if you are not getting benefited, so there is no point of making, because my time is also consuming in those videos. So but as you have seen this whole video and you come to know, okay, I have left with the selection criteria for that particular connector, so definitely I'm going to cover this topic in today's video. So thank you for this type of comments, and please tell if you want the video for a particular, one particular topic, so I can make that particular topic video, so that you can get help by that video. So without wasting time, I have one request, that please like and subscribe and comment on this, because this type of information you will not get in books, or these are the practical information and practical knowledge you will get from all these video. So I'm just expecting, because I should know that whether these particular videos are helping you or not. So without wasting time, I'm just moving to my video. So point to be discussed today, we will just discuss the first point, that is selection criteria for the connector, and what are the points or what are the condition based on which we select that particular connector. So first condition would be environmental condition, then electrical parameter, then mounting or packaging location. So all these three conditions we will discuss in detail in later of this video. So but first I will just give you the overview of that particular factors, what are the factors which consider in the connector selection. So the connector selection, first the electrical factor. So electrical factor, what is in that? The current requirement. Suppose you have the high current requirement, you have the low current requirement, and the signal level, then whether you have the steady type of cyclic or transient. Okay, so when you talk about the electrical factors, we have to understand what is our current requirement, whether uh, you are selecting that particular connector for the high current rating or the low current rating. So when you will have that catalog particular for the connector, you will see that there would be a current rating would be mentioned, that this would be the current which it can resist. But suppose if you are passing, suppose that particular connector, one particular connector is made for 10 ampere, and you are passing 15 ampere of current in that, and you are using those wires in that particular connector, what will happen? There would be damage of connector. How it will be damaged? That your insulation resistance and contact resistance will affect. And if insulation resistance will affect, so what happen when you pass the higher current on the particular wire, what will happen? That I square, that heating level of that particular wire would be increased. When heat will be increased, then temperature will be rising. When temperature will rise, then your particular connector are mostly on a plastic, right? So they will start melting, and when they will start melting, then your function would be affected. Whatever function, for whatever purpose you have used that particular connector, that function will stop. So this particular thing will play a very particular role. Then determine the type and terminal size of the contact. Okay, suppose you are using for 0.6 to 8 square pin, what type of terminal, male or female. Then wire diameter also, then insulation requirement, that is voltage drop, then corrosion resistance. This also plays a very vital role. I will take one case study on this corrosion resistance, how it affects and how it melts your connector. Okay, so these are the electrical factors which affect your selection of the particular connector. Then coming to the location. So location wise or packaging wise or environment where you are putting your particular connector, or you are mounting. Suppose you are the first in temperature wise there. Sorry. So there would be one particular location where your temperature would be high. Suppose your temperature is in engine compartment, you are using that particular connector. Okay, so in that temperature range, you know that it is more than 100 degrees centigrade, and vibration level is also very high in the engine compartment. So you have to choose the particular temperature class for that engine compartment and particular vibration level. Okay, vibration level are defined with S1, S2, S3. I hope you might be aware, or if you are not aware, I will see in the next slide. Then when you are in choosing for the passenger compartment, then you have to use the unshielded connector, because there and ambient temperature is also less than 85 degrees centigrade. So unshielded and shielded are used to protect the water insertion, water or dust. So suppose if you are in engine compartment, there is a less chances that you will have the water, okay, water insertion or the dust. When you are in sorry, I just said opposite. The engine compartment, there is a requirement of shielded, because there is a chances of water insertion when you open your hood. Okay, but when it is comes to passenger compartment, where your driver is sitting or passengers are sitting in the backside, so there is a very less chances, you do not have any option that at any condition your water would be inserted in that particular connector. So in that case, you can use the unshielded, and in passenger compartment or the cabin compartment, your temperature would also be less. So that time you have to see for which particular location you are selecting your connector, whether it is for engine compartment or the passenger compartment. If it is engine compartment, then it should be shielded connector. If it is passenger compartment, if it is unshielded connector. I take one example. Suppose you are selecting for fender. Fender comes in the front. So you know what type of connector you have to choose for fender. So it is very simple, that is shielded. There is a most of the chances that you will get the water. Okay, if I am asking you for chassis is below that particular line. So suppose this is your car. Okay, so my drawing is very bad. Okay, so suppose this is your frame and this is your chassis area. So in this particular area, definitely you need the shielded connector to avoid the water insertion. So I hope you got the essence of this. Then potential for high pressure. Suppose some particular when you are going for washing your car, तो उस टाइम पे क्या होता है कि प्रेशर जो वाटर जेट का प्रेशर होता है वो बहुत ज्यादा होता है. Then you have to check that which type of IP is given for that, or whether this particular connector can withstand with the high pressure or not. So all these things you have to study, and then only you can decide based on that whether you need shielded connector or what type of IP protection you need for that particular device. We will take some example and we will see what type of connectors would be come here and what type of connector. Like I have given one example, like fender, chassis, you have to use the shielded connector. There is no option. Engine compartment, shielded connector. Passenger compartment, you have no need of any shielded connector. The unshielded connector is more than enough. Then temperature range also, you know that in engine if you are choosing, then you have to choose the temperature class based on this temperature. I will show you in coming slide what are the temperature classes. Then standards. So there are some standards based on you have to select those. So some might be domestic standard, institutional standard, and international standard. So most of the standards where we use, there might be many standards, but generally US car is very this particular standard and specification is widely used in the worldwide. So we can use this US car. I will show you some other standard as well. Then physical factors. What are the physical? Then size, number of circuit, how many number of circuits are going in this, what is the mating position, wire harness, docking and equipment connection, mechanical जो main feature, what that whether you require the lever or not. I told you in last classes where you need the lever. Okay, so I told you that when you are doing some ECU locking, okay, then that time you need the lever locking. You require most of the time for the ECU's connectors there would be a lever. Then multiple type of connector for high input and output application. Then there is a other factor, that is assembly. So what is the insertion for that insertion force for that connectors. Okay, that you have to see. Then visual also you have to see. What is the visual means? So suppose I take one airbag connector. So you know what is the color of this airbag connector? That is yellow. And most of the time we use the yellow because to identify that or separate for operator that he should not mix this particular connector somewhere else. Okay, this is for the operation purpose. Then it should be audible. Okay, what is the mean audible? When you are meeting those two connectors, then it should have that particular sound like click sound, so that it can give the the feel to the or to the confirmation to the operator, okay, that is particular locking is done. Then customer preference, so it is generally like a what is the cost that matters. So there are different company which takes different supplier based on the competitor. So suppose you take one example of Yajaki or Aptiv or TE. So Aptiv connectors are on higher cost, Aptiv connectors or Yajaki connectors. But when you take the Minda connector or some local connectors, those are the cheaper connectors. So based on the application, based on the OEM, the these particular selections are done. Moving to the, I have told you some standards. So most widely used US car, then QCT, and then GMW. So we will see this, any of the standards you will see these three things would be there. One is the temperature class, then vibration, and then sealing requirement. Okay, so we will see all these three. So there are A class, B class, C class, D class, and E class. So in A class of the temperature, there would be minus 40 to 85 degrees centigrade, and passenger compartment in this you can use installation. Okay, not recommended for this passenger compartment. You can use for this minus 40 to 100 degrees centigrade for passenger compartment. But when it comes to engine, then on engine you can use this minus 40 to 125 degrees centigrade. But when hot locations are there, then you have to consider minus 40 to 150 degrees centigrade. Now you will ask me what are the hot location. So you are doing your routing near the exhaust, and you know how much temperature exhaust has, around 200 150, this type of temperature exhaust has. So when you are routing your harness near to the or surrounding to the exhaust, then you have to take care of this on engine hot locations. Then minus 40 to 170 degree 5 and above. So these type of you have to avoid as per this particular standard. These locations you have to avoid. Moving to the, I hope you understand that we have the five classes A, B, C, D, E, and what are the ambient operating temperature range for the all the classes. For A, minus 40 to 85, B, 40 to 100, 125, 150, and 175. And what are the location where you have to mount. Now moving to the position of this vibration. So vibration is having five classes like the earlier I have told you. So this V1 class, V2 class, V3 class, V4, and V5. So V1 class would be of the body but not on the engine. Okay. V2 class would be on engine, not on heavily vibrating parts. Okay. V3 class would be component subject to severe vibration, component subject to extreme vibration V4, and if you are putting on wheel, okay, on wheel, there are maximum vibration that comes under V5. Okay, I hope you understand the classes and the location of those classes. Then there is a ceiling classification as well. So there are three ceiling classes are there: S1, S2, and S3 as per the standards. So S1 is nothing but unshielded. So as I already told you, in passenger compartment on trunk where you do not have any exposure of water and dust, then you can use the unshielded. Then shielded, where you have the exposed area for water and dust. Then you have to use the shielded S2. Then S3 comes shielded with high pressure spray. So exposure area where high spray is there, where you have to use the S3 class of connectors. So I hope you understand the temperature, vibration, and sealing classification and how you have to select those based on the location of that. Then there is a, this is GMW type of, but the things would be same, only the temperature range might be differ. Suppose here minus 4, here classes are 1 2 3 4 5, right? But where we have seen that this QCT, then we have seen A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so it totally depends on the standards how they are following. Here minus 40 to 85, they are saying passenger and compartment is okay. Then 80 100 under hood and chassis, 125 on engine and transmission, 150 on engine on hot location. So if you see the second class and B class, here 100 they have given an under hood and chassis. Okay, here also if you see there is a same, but they have told the location might be different. They have said that for the passenger compartment you can go with the 100 degree centigrade, but the things would be the temperature classes are same, and the more or less your location will also be same. Okay, passenger compartment and trunk. Then moving to the next one. So here also I have included some factors which I have already discussed. Okay, so the current rating, current connector size, engagement force, wire size, also configuration and circuit size, operating voltage, agency approval, price per circuit, all these things. And this is my US car too, that is my standard which need to be followed. So I will give the classes vibration and this ceiling classification for US car 2 also in next class, but as of now we will see in a crisp gist of this particular class. So I have told you the connector selection based on the application or the environment. Okay, so what are the application on what are the location? So first might be exterior of the car. Exterior of the car would be fenders, okay, chassis area, ठीक है, outside the cabin. So fender harness हो गया, then chassis harness. Okay, that then there would be second option. What are the other option inside the engine compartment? So engine wiring harness is the, so here I told you what are the things you have to take care. One is the temperature, then second would be vibration, then third would be the ceiling classification. Those things you have to see, and then you have to select your connector. Then inside the passenger compartment, which we have already discussed, that IP harness, door harness, roof harness, these are comes under the passenger compartment. In passenger compartment already I have discussed in the classification how do you have to select. Then specific safety application. Safety application, your airbag. Okay, in airbag I have told you a different kind of connectors, and the particular color also we have to define for this particular airbag connectors, so that operators will not get confused when assembly. Then OBD connectors are nothing but are the diagnostic connectors. Okay, so you have to see those connectors, what type of connectors are those. Okay, then based on the electrical parameter. So in electrical parameter I have already discussed you the contact resistance, insulation resistance, current density, all these things. Then wire cross section you have to see, then EMI connectors you have to see. Okay, so if you see your car, so this is my engine compartment, this is my engine compartment, then this is my passenger compartment, this is my fender, this is my fender here. Okay, and below this would be the chassis area, this would be our wheel, and here would be all chassis. Okay, so here you can see the positions of the particular units we have given based on the packaging. So packaging location I have already told you that what are the different packaging location, what are the parking provision, also requirement of cross section, what are the installation process or installation assembly, you can say. Whether the operator is able to do the assembly properly or not, or he is facing some issue. So these things you have to consider in selection of the connector. Okay, so based on application or environment, then electrical parameter, then based on packaging. So I will discuss one based on application. So in application, as I already told you, outside the cabin, fender harness. Outside the cabin, what are the things are environmental conditions such as water entry and dust exposure, you have to take care. Water shielded connectors are recommended in such cases. IP standard you have to follow. I have already discussed in last video what are the IP standard and what are the things you have to follow. Which IP 69, IP 67, what are the IP. Then vibration level to be considered as per location of the connectors. Okay, that also I have discussed. Then interior of the car. Interior of the car is nothing but engine compartment. Then temperature plays a very vital role inside the engine, as I told you. This case heat shrink butt connector need to be used and recommended. So as I have told already, these are the classes, these are the temperature range, and these are the typical location where you can use these connectors. Okay, then interior of the car. Interior of the car, passenger compartment. So water and dust exposure is minimal, so no waterproof is recommended. Foam taping you can use for that particular connector. Then safety application, anti-lock brake system, airbag. So in this, what you have to do, you have to maintain loop resistance minimum. Why I want to loop resistance minimum? Because I want the voltage drop to be lesser, so that my function should not be affected by that. So that's why I need the loop resistance minimum. Then voltage plays very critical role in this. If your voltage drop goes in a particular value, then your particular function will affect. That's why we do not want any signal deterioration, or signal will be missing. Then plating for these terminals should be gold or platinum, and the reason for gold and platinum or silver plating is the same, that your contact resistance should be minimum. Contact resistance would be minimum, then your heating would not be there, and voltage drop chances would be lesser, so that signal will not be distorted. Because these airbag and safety application plays a very vital role, either it is ABS or airbag. So here, if you can see what I'm trying to show you, that the cross sectional view of narrow pitch connector matted state. So this is the cross sectional view we have taken. So you see the contact resistance is nothing but when these particular two connectors are matting. So contact electrical resistance between socket terminal and heater terminal, including the junction resistance. Okay, this is the matted view of the particular connectors terminals. Okay. And here also the insulation resistance the same, the electrical resistance between adjacent terminals, so it should also be minimum. Okay, it should be, insulation resistance should be as much that it should not break. Okay, so between the these two terminals. Okay, so as of now I'm just wrapping up here only. So thank you for watching this particular class, and please like, comment and share. I will come with one more class with explaining the electrical properties, and this the second thing which we have seen here. Sorry. So we have covered the based on application. We will cover based on electrical parameter and based on packaging. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time.